Hi everyone, and welcome back to another Stitch Sessions tutorial. I've got a really cute and super quick project for you today. If you guys are new here, I'm Karen, and this channel is all about things to do with crocheting and crafting with crochet. And this week's tutorial is a project that goes with our themed crochet series. Every year I do a crochet along in a theme. So the first Wednesday of every month, we have a project related to that theme. And this year's theme is Home Sweet Home. And if you watched April's project, we did that Eye-Spy Trivet, and it was done using the exact same colors. And if you've missed any of the previous projects we've done in this crochet series, there will be a link to the playlist in the description box down below. So this week we are doing these cute coasters that are just so cute and so quick to make up. You will absolutely love this. Now, remember that stitch tutorial I did a while back called the crossed single crochet stitch? I did intimate in that video that I had a project I was going to use it for. And these coasters are exactly it. Now, you just love that texture. And it does create quite a bit of a nice, solid, dense texture. So what I did is I alternated the crossed single crochet stitch with a row of single crochet stitches. So there's a little bit of an alternation there with actually 2 rows of the cross single crochet and 1 of just a regular single crochet. And I just thought it gave it just a nice, subtle, but yet interesting texture. A beginner can do this project. You just need to go a little slower to understand the basis of the stitch we're using here today. So let's just get to it. We're going to gather our materials and then we're going to get started working on our cute little coasters. Okay, now as I said, these coasters were created with the same colors that I used for the trivet. So I just used my leftover yarn. You won't need a lot for it. And I am using Lion Brand's 24/7 cotton, which I absolutely love for anything to do with kitchen items or anything that has to withstand moisture or extreme heat. It is 100% cotton. It's a medium 4-weight yarn. And you can now find this on a regular basis at Michael's, which I forget where it was the first place that I found the 24/7 a few years back, but now it looks like Michael's is carrying it on a regular basis. So that is super exciting. So these are the 3 colors I used for the trivet. Now I only use these 2 for my coasters here. I am starting to run low on this creamy color. It was called Ecru, I believe, in case you're wondering. So I use this color as well as this kind of terracotta color, and actually it is called terracotta. Now I think I have enough to do my inner square of this, but to do the trim, I'm probably going to run out. So I am probably going to use what's left of this color, which is camel. Okay. So it's a medium 4-weight yarn, and I am going to be using the recommended hook size for once. And that is a 4mm hook, which is also known as a G or a size 6. So I want these stitches to sit a little bit tighter and to create just a little bit of sustenance there. And as always, make sure you have a handy pair of scissors and a yarn needle to weave in your ends at the end. Once you've got all those materials together, we're ready to get started. Okay, so I am going to start with this cream color here. And what we're going to do is we're going to begin by placing a slip knot onto our hook here. I'm trying to be very diligent about my tail because I know I have limited amount of this yarn left. So I'm not going to leave too long of a tail. And then what we're going to do is we are going to chain up 17. So just nice and easy and not too tight and not too loose. Okay, once you've got your 17 chains, you have something that looks like this. And now what we're going to do is we are going to find the second chain from the hook. Remember that you never count the loop that's on the hook. And then we are going to single crochet into every single stitch. So I'm going to skip this one and I'm going to work into the second one. Now for this project, I am going to turn my chain over and I'm going to work into these back bumps here. See that back bump? That's what I'm going to work into. And every once in a while, I just like doing that. Just gives that edge a nice, clean finish. Now we are going to be putting a border on this project. So if it's just a little bit cumbersome for you, go right ahead and go into the front of the chain, and that's all going to get covered up later up anyway. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do one single crochet into each and every stitch, and at the end of this chain I should have 16 stitches in total. Okay, so row number 1 is complete. I have 16 stitches, so it looks like that. And then the bottom looks a little bit more nice and uniform. So that's row number 1. We're going to go on to row number 2. And so we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. And this is where we are going to go into the crossed single crochet stitch. So for the very first stitch, all we're going to do is we're going to insert our hook and place a single crochet, and that is what is going to flank each of these rows. Now what's going to happen is we're going to skip the next stitch, and into the following stitch we're going to place a single crochet. And what you want to do here is just be a little bit more relaxed than you usually are. So just kind of keep it a little bit relaxed, just like that. And now we're going to go back into the skipped stitch right there, into that stitch there, and single crochet. So we're still using single crochets, we're just placing them differently. And that is your first crossed single crochet. You can see it creates that little slanted look there. So this stitch, the cross single crochet, is what we're going to repeat all the way to the end. At the end, you should have 1 stitch left. But I'm going to do this one more time with you. So you skip the next stitch into the following stitch, you single crochet, then we come back to the skipped stitch and single crochet. So you're basically just skipping a stitch and then backtracking to the missed stitch. Okay, so now you can see there's 2 of them that slant a little bit. So one more time, I'm going to skip this stitch, go into the next stitch, single crochet, whoops, then I'm going to come back to the missed stitch and single crochet. This first little row here of this stitch can be a little funny because we don't have enough of our swatch worked up yet. But just take your time and be patient. So you're going to go all the way to the end, and as I said, you're going to have 1 stitch left. At the end, you will simply put 1 single crochet into that last stitch. Go ahead and finish this row. I will meet up with you in that last stitch, and we'll talk about going on to row number 3. Okay, so I'm at the end of row number 2. I have 1 stitch left, and that's that turning chain there. So I'm just going to insert my hook and just do a regular single crochet. Now be careful again not to do it too tightly because it will create a bunched effect here. And we want the sides of our work to look nice and uniform. So that's the end of row number 2. So we're going to go on to row number 3. You'll chain 1. And row number 3 is simply repeating row number 2. So you will begin by placing a single crochet in that very first stitch. And then we proceed to do our crossed single crochet. So we're going to skip this stitch, going into that one. We're going to single crochet, and then we're going to come back to that skipped stitch. So you're going to get a lot of practice. If you missed that tutorial on the crossed single crochet stitch, you are going to still get lots of practice doing this project. So I'm just going to come back to the missed stitch. So this is basically it that you're going to do to create the center portion of your coaster. So it's a 3-row repeat. Row number 1 is single crochets. Row number 2 and 3 are the crossed single crochets. So you're now going to repeat row 1, 2, and 3 for a total of 4 times. That's going to give you 12 rows. And for the last row, and we actually have 13 rows in this project, for the last row, you will just repeat row number 1. So you're going to repeat 1, 2, and 3 for a total of 4 times. That's going to give you 12 rows. Then for row number 13, you're going to come back and do a single crochet row to finish off the squared off portion. And then once you're done that, I'm going to meet back up with you and we are going to talk about how we're going to create this pretty little border here. Okay guys, I made it with just a little bit left. So I have 13 rows in total. My last row I made sure was my single crochet row. So I am just going to compare it here to the inside, and yep, that looks perfecto. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create this really sweet little border. It's actually done in 3 rounds. So the first round is using the same color that I used on the inside. And then the second round, we just used a contrasting color. And then the third round, we came back to the original. As you can see, I am running out of mine, but I am going to show you, for those of you that still have plenty of the same color, what I'm going to do is at the end of your 13th row, you don't snip off. What you're going to do is you're going to chain 2, and you're going to chain it nice and loose. And now what we're going to do is we're going to work down the side of our work. So it's pretty much, you're just going to eyeball where to place it. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to find our next area here. I'm going to go here because this first round is not supposed to be especially defined, right? So we don't need it to be super bumpy. So then I'm going to chain 2 again, 1 and 2. And then I'm going to go right about here and I'm going to slip stitch. Okay. And so you can just see it's creating these little chain loops. And again, we don't need them to be dramatic. We're just going to make them nice and subtle. So that's what you're going to do all the way around. Now I am running out of this one. So what I'm going to do is I am going to attach it to this color here and finish my round. So you're just going to keep doing your chain 2 and slip stitch. And then when you get to the corner here, you're actually going to have stitches to work into. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish this side with the new color, and I'll meet up with you here at the corner just to take you through how you are going to count the stitches there. Okay, so I've attached that new color there, and I'm coming up to my corners. So I've got a little bit of space here. So what I'm going to do is I actually am going to slip stitch into that very first stitch. Then I'm going to chain 2. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to skip 1 stitch and then slip stitch into the next one. Just nice and simple, nothing too crazy there. 1 and 2, I'm going to skip the next stitch, and into the following stitch, I will slip stitch. Okay, there we go. So with the contrasting color, you can really see it's just creating a little bit of a scallop there. And we've got that original color there. So that's what you're going to do all the way around. And then you are going to slip stitch. Now I will meet you at the end. For those of you that have the same color, I'll talk you through how you're going to deal with that yarn. And for those of you that are like me and have a separate color, you can just snip it. Okay. And so on your sides, you're going to do exactly what you did on this side. You're just going to kind of eyeball it to see where it sits nicely. And then when you come back to this side, you'll have stitches to work into. So you'll just do it into every other stitch. So go ahead and do that. And I will meet up with you at the end of your first border round. Okay, so I've reached the end. Now remember that I still used a little bit of that original color in the beginning here. So we've reached the end, and what you're going to do is, that's my first loop here, you're going to slip stitch into this last stitch here, but you're not going to use this yarn. You're just going to leave it, and you're going to pick up your contrasting color, which for me is going to be this terracotta color. And this is the color I'm going to pull through to slip stitch to end off this round. Okay. And then I'm just going to throw both of those yarns over and chain 1 to secure. Now this later on, you will, especially this tail here, you're going to weave this in. This tail, which we are not going to snip off, you will come back to it when we do our final round. So we're now going to go on to round number 2 of our border. And you're using a contrasting color. This one now isn't necessarily so contrasting to this caramel color, but we're just doing what we can with what we have. Those of you that follow me regularly, you know how much I hate any waste of any kind. So even though I only had a little bit, I still wanted to use it up there. And these are coasters for my place, and I'm not too picky about it. So what you're going to do is you're going to just continue doing what you did before. You're going to chain 2. Okay, so I've already chained 1, so this is my second one. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go inside these chain loops here. And if I can, I'm going to work over this tail. And you're going to slip stitch. So it's the same method as in round 1. You're going to chain 1 and 2, but now you're just going to slip stitch into every chain loop. And that tail needs to get out of the way there now. So I'm going to slip stitch right there. 1 and 2 into the next chain loop and slip stitch. So that's why we're only chaining 2. We don't really need it to create a lot of shape. We just want a nice little place to slip stitch these chain loops into, and the color change is what's going to create the definition. So here we have 1 here, and then we chain 1 and 2, and you just keep working around the corner the same way. So there's the next chain loop, 1 and 2, and into the next chain loop. Okay, so you can see I've done a few here, and this is a nice contrast to this color. Unfortunately, these 2 colors kind of blend in way too much for my taste, but this is all I've got left of my cotton yarn, so this is what I shall use. But if I show you this one, you can really see where the contrasting color came in. And then when we do the third round, it just nestles in there really nice and pretty. So those are the chain loops there. So that's what we're going for here. So that's all you're going to do. So just go around, finish round number 2. And then for those of you that are super new, I will show you how you're going to pick this back up and finish round number 3. If you are more experienced, then you don't need to. You'll just continue on, finish round number 3, and then your coaster will be complete. So I'm going to go ahead and finish my second round, and I'll meet some of you back here in just a moment. Okay, so I've made my way all the way around, so you can see the contrast is very, very subtle. And now I'm coming up to the end here. So I'm going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and then I'm going to slip stitch into that very first chain loop. But here is where I'm going to drop this yarn and I'm going to pick that one back up. So I'm going to just bring it through and slip stitch. Then chain 2, 1 and 2. And that is how you're going to bring that up. And then what I'm going to do is now I can cut this one off. I'm just going to leave a little bit of a tail here so I can weave it in after. And then round number 3 is just the same thing. We're going to finish this off, but we're going to do something just a little wee bit different. So you can see it just gives you this nice center. See how subtle that is? Just creates that really pretty texture. So what we're going to do now is we do want it to create a little bit extra shape. So here you can see that the scallops are coming through a little bit more. Of course, the contrasting color helps. It actually looks like there's a ribbon running through here. Isn't that pretty? So what we did in round number 3 is instead of chaining 2, we're chaining 3. So I'm going to just chain 1 more. And then you're going to continue on and slip stitch into each of the chain loops. So 1, 2, and 3, and slip stitch. And giving each loop that little extra chain is what's going to help that scalloped look really just come through and create a really pretty, nice shaped border. So that is what I'm going to do all the way around. There you go. So you can see it a little bit coming through there. Okay, so I'm going to finish round number 3. Okay, so I've come up to the end here and I have just this little spot here. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to chain 2 and then I'm going to slip stitch right in there just to end off the round nice and subtly. Okay, and now I'm going to snip my yarn, and I'm going to pull that through, and then I'll have to weave in my end. But now you can see, look at how pretty that is. The scallop shape is coming through, and you can see a little bit of a contrast. This screams to me much more fall fall colors this way. So it's not an exact matching set, but it falls in line with the themes. So I made 4 here just because, you know, just would like to have a little set of these coasters. You can whip these up so quickly. So if you're going to like a housewarming party or something like that, you could definitely create this in the same day. Just gotta hide these tails for now. And then, I mean, if you had already prepared, this is the trivet that we did back for April's Home Sweet Home project. And we created this really pretty scallop border as well. So if you wanted to crochet that and then add in these coasters, look at how pretty that would look as a set. Now I know this one looks weird because it's a different color, but look at how, I'm just actually going to take that away for a moment. Look at how pretty that would make as a set, especially, I always like to give these types of gifts to like college kids or a young adult that's maybe moving into their very first apartment on their own. It's just a nice little thing that, you know, you don't really think about, but will come in super, super handy. It's very low maintenance. They can throw this stuff in the wash, and it's nice and easy peasy. And what I love about these types of coasters is they don't break. I had a set of glass coasters. Actually, they were one of my favorite coasters. I had them for a long, long time. And then I went through a phase where for some strange reason, I kept dropping them. And unfortunately, based on the angle that they fell on, they would shatter and break. And also I like these because sometimes on a coaster that's thick, like whether it's wood or marble or anything trendy like that, sometimes when you set the cup on it, if you accidentally set it on the edge, then the cup will turn over. So that's why, again, these are great because they absorb moisture and you're going to be less likely to get tip over situations. So what do you guys think? Are these not the cutest, sweetest little crochet coasters ever? I think so. Now, if you have any questions at all, make sure to leave them for me. You can leave them for me in the comment box down below. I know a lot of you like to email me directly, so feel free to do so. You can pop me an email at info@crochetcrafty.com. And I'm always very happy to answer your questions. Please hang in there. If I don't answer right away, don't fret. It sometimes will take me a couple of days to get back to you, but I will get back to you. And as always, come visit me on the website, crochetcrafty.com. There's lots of free goodies there for you and a lot of great resource tools like sizing charts and things like that, and crochet planning lists. So if you're already starting to think about planning for the gift giving season, whether it's Christmas or maybe you have a birthday or an anniversary coming up, that crochet project planning list comes in really, really handy. So make sure to check that out. It's absolutely free. You can download them absolutely free. And as always, come say hi to me. I'm on Facebook and Instagram at The Stitch Sessions. And please do tag me. I always like to see the different colors you guys choose for your projects. Now, if you're new here, I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me today. And I invite you to come and hang out with us every week. So just click that subscribe button and make sure to press the notification bell, and that way you'll be updated every time one of our tutorials goes live. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you have a great start to your month of May. I'm so looking forward to some more warm weather and some fabulous sunshine. So as always, happy crocheting. Take very good care of yourselves, and I will see you guys in next week's session. Bye-bye.